Hi everyone, Diana here. I'm on the road again and Daisy's not with me today. So I found a shady spot here. I found a park that I could talk to you for a few minutes. You might hear some traffic going by and there are some children over here playing. You might hear them as well. These are your psychic soul messages for August the 5th to the 11th. And, you know, the predictions, it's just going to be more of the same. So just kind of expect that what we're going to have over the next, well, certainly over this week and the next several weeks, it's just going to escalate what we've seen. And I want to say this gives us an opportunity to find our own joy and stay more in our own level self. That doesn't mean we don't speak out and up for ourselves and for others. We certainly do. But I want to talk to you a little bit more about how to do that and how to stay in joy in these tumultuous times, because believe me, it's going to get worse. Over August, it's going to get worse. September, October, as we get into the midterm elections, as more people here in the U.S., as more people are indicted, as more comes up, believe me, it's going to get a lot more, going to be a lot more turmoil. But I want to, and the rudeness, oh my gosh, the rudeness that I'm feeling in the world is, I've never seen so much rudeness. And I'm going to talk to you about how do we deal with when other people are being rude, because we're not going to change their behavior necessarily. So how do we deal with that? We'll also have a message from Philip. This is my Oracle book, and each page has a different wisdom, and yes, it is available. Some of you have asked me if it's available. It's on Amazon.com. And so we'll get our message from Philip in a little bit. And as I mentioned last week, my latest book, Joy, that probably comes through backwards, I don't know. But The Art of Living a Happy Life, it's 52 practices to create happiness and break the addiction to unhappiness. So this is my latest book. It is out on Amazon. So I wanted to talk to you about how to create that joy in your life, not necessarily going through the processes here, but I want to tell you, as you know, I like to give stories about my experiences in my life. And I want to say this is not easy work to create joy in our lives. Like I said, 52 practices, that's one a week to help us create joy. And once we create that joy, do we live there forever? No, we have to keep coming back to it. But the more often we come back to it, the easier it is to access, and the more we stay in that place of joy. Once we're addicted to unhappiness, we have to really work our way out of it, and that's hard work. So believe me, this is not namby-pamby stuff that I'm talking about. And I want to say, you've heard me say this before, we've all agreed to come into this time period. As souls, we agreed to it. We just forgot to read the small print on the soul contract. But we are here for a reason, and we are here to help take the world into a kinder, gentler, more loving place. So how do we do that? Let me give you an example that I dealt with this week and how I turned a potentially unhappy situation, even maybe I don't know that explosive, that might be too strong for a word, but certainly a difficult situation, how I was able to turn that around. And the reason I was able to turn it around is because I needed to keep in mind what I wanted, what was my goal. And I tell my private clients that, and by the way, many of you have asked how to get a private reading. My website and phone number to where to reach me are posted below, so just give me a call or send me an email, and you can also find out all the prices and everything on my website. That said, one of the things I do in addition to private clients and speaking engagements is I work with businesses to improve their bottom line through using employees to help them reach joy, but also to use their intuition to have improved customer service. And we have a workbook. Well, I took the workbook to the printer to have it printed up. And on the front of the workbook is the company's name that we were going to do the work for. And inside the workbook was the company's name. So we have the company's name in more than one places. So the printer sent me a copy, look at it, are there any changes you wanted to make? And I said, no, it looks great. Or made some changes, but got it back. Everything looked fine. Got that copy back, and the cover, the name was misspelled. But on the inside of the company, the name was spelled correctly. It's like, wait a minute, we can't have this. So I contacted the printer and I said, somehow the front cover got screwed up. I don't think I used that word, but I said the front cover is incorrect and we need to correct it. I think I probably a little more professional than screwed up. Anyway, the printer got very insulted that I asked for this to be corrected and told me I was overreacting. Not in today's world. A man does not tell a woman she's overreacting. Maybe back in the 50s, even the early 60s, men could get by with telling a woman she was being overly sensitive. You don't tell a woman that, especially a woman of my age. I've been through it, and you're not going to get by with that. So, I was a little hot under the collar, but I calmed down. I emailed back, and I said, I don't appreciate your saying I'm overreacting. Let's correct the problem. I received an email back. I was told I was rude and condescending because I'm asking for a correction that the printer even admitted he made a mistake. Okay, I had to step back because now I'm angry. I had to step back because I had to remind myself of what I often tell my clients. What's your end goal? What is it you want? And even if you want to yell at the guy, is that going to serve your purpose? No. So I thanked him for correcting the error and said, here's when I'll pick up the books, the corrected books, and praised him for correcting them. In the meantime, he had written and he told me that bit about being rude and condescending. And I had to laugh because in 72 years of life, no one's called me rude and condescending. However, that doesn't mean I've never been rude and condescending to others. And so I had to stop and look at that and say, when in my life am I rude and condescending to others? Because I don't want to be. And if I'm going to walk my talk, I can't be. I really looked deeply at myself. And I found places that I can be rude and I can be condescending without even realizing it or meaning to be. And so I looked at that and I vowed to not let that happen again, to forgive myself and ask forgiveness in a prayer for anyone I've ever offended. In the meantime, I also bless the publisher, bless those who work for the publisher or the printer, and also bless the workbook. And then I blessed myself. And I had to do that over and over and over and over. And the morning I was going to go pick up the books, I became very angry. I just woke up grumpy. And I realized I was being grumpy. And I thought, I don't want to be grumpy. That's not how I want to spend my morning. So what do I need to do here to change this? And you can hear there are people around me here in the park. So when I thought, what do I need to do to change this? Well, for me, one of the things I do is I'm a writer, and so I just sat down and I started journaling about it because I thought, I don't want that energy around the workbook. I don't want that energy around the company that I'm putting this program, this seminar on for. I don't want that energy in my life. And so, therefore, I don't want the energy to go into the printer either. Just writing that out changed my attitude and lifted me up. There are certainly, in this book, there are many, many different processes I could have done, and I do use this a lot, by the way. These are all processes I've used in my life. But in this case, I didn't have to. I could shift it in a matter of minutes because I've been fortunate enough to do these processes and live in joy. And that's what I'm talking about when I say, let's live our lives in love. Being unhappy isn't any fun. And a long time ago, I said, I want to have fun in my life. I want my life to be fun. I want it to be good. And so in order to do that, I have to do the work to change me and my attitude, because I'm not going to do anything to change that other person's attitude. But I can change my attitude. And that's what I did. And so I went to pick up the I want to say pamphlets, but the workbooks. I went to pick them up. They were fine. They were perfect. They were redone correctly. I didn't have to deal directly with the man I'd had the exchange with. I got to deal with an assistant who was lovely. And I had a most enjoyable drive there. I got to stop for lunch, and I had a most enjoyable drive home. That's what I'm talking about, my friends. No matter what's going on in the world, we can live in a good place. And the more we do that, more often we find ourselves in that good place. That spreads out into the world. That creates a pathway for others to live in that good space. And as others live in that good space, we're creating a better and better world. I held him accountable. I said, yes, I need it corrected. I didn't let him get by with a mistake. I held him accountable. I set my boundaries. I did so in firmness, but I also had to do my work around it. So my friends, what's your goal? What is it you want to achieve? If it's happiness, you can achieve that. But stop and look, what is my goal and what do I have to do to reach it? I want to say the rudeness in our world is not only going to continue, it's going to increase. So is the violence. It's important that you use your intuition to keep yourself safe. It's important that we keep bringing joy back to our lives. That said, let's see what Philip has to say. We have to think left page and right page. And by the way, thank you, those of you who subscribe and come back week after week. I'm so grateful for you, and I love your comments. I try to answer them. It's not always within the same week, but I do read them. And I want to say also, living in joy doesn't mean we never shed tears. It means that underneath those tears, underneath when we might get angry, there's a deeper person, a deeper part of ourselves that's living there. And that, my friends, is where we all want to be. So let's see what Philip has to say, left or right page. If you're new at this, just think left or right page, and we just kind of thumb through it. Thank you for coming and being with us and being part of our community here. Ready? Okay. Whoa, there we're stopping right there. I'm hearing left, but I always read both sides, but the message is on the left. You ready for this one? Here we go. For understanding, look not to what the mind thinks, but to what the heart feels. For understanding, look not to what the mind thinks, but to what the heart feels. The mind is, we get caught in our ego. Our ego tells us we have to be right no matter what. Our ego tells us if we're not right, then we're not good enough. We forget that the ego not only tells us we're blah, 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 good. The ego also tells us we're not good enough. And we are. Every single one of us is good enough. Perfect enough. So remember, for understanding, look not to what the mind thinks, but to what the heart feels. What is it your heart wants? We all want love. To receive love. And to receive love, we have to first give it. And we start with giving it to ourselves. Now, on the right, which is not our message, but I always read the other side too, it says, is it not that you must first master yourself? Is it not that you must first master yourself? You know, those messages kind of go together, I think, because we're always trying to change the other person, forgetting it's only ourselves that we can change. So, my friends, while we go through this very rocky and very rough time, remember, it's not written on your birth certificate that this one shall have an easy life. If in your soul contract before you came into life, it said this one is going to help usher in the new life, the new planet, the new earth, the new love. You forgot to read the small print about how difficult it can be. But you know what? You can do it. Together, we hold each other's hands. And together, my friends, we can do this. The ancient ones tell us this is the time that all the secrets are revealed. We just had no idea what that meant. We're getting an idea. Hang in there. We're going to get through this. It is going to be better. Easier? Not easy. But think of the alternatives. You can live your life addicted to unhappiness, or you can live your life in joy. I hope you'll join me, living your life in joy and love, and adding that to the world. Until then, from Daisy, who's home with the others, the rest of the family, we love you. Thank you for receiving that love. And thank you for loving us. Until next week, bye.